Hello, people watching retro car reviews on the internet. Welcome to this, my 1982 Toyota Celica Supra L-Type, which I just finished doing a little mini resto mod series on. There's a link up above if you want to check out that playlist. But today I'm going to get this thing up in the air, we're going to nerd out in the tech specs, see how it was once constructed, and then go give it the beans. First up, for starters, the exhaust. All stainless steel in construction with a dual outlet muffler and 3-inch diameter piping, which is 76.2 millimeters, all the way up to the cat. Because 1982, the fuel tank is located right here by the back bumper. The Mark II Supras utilized a all-steel in construction semi-trailing arm independent rear suspension. Mounted in the center of it as part of my resto mod, I swapped in a Torsen limited slip rear differential from a 1985 Celica Supra P-Type with a 4.30 final drive ratio. Directly above that is an upgraded white line rear anti-sway bar, which is adjustable where the end link connects to the trailing arm. And paired with that is a set of KYB AGX adjustable dampening and adjustable ride height coilover struts, which measures in at approximately 18 millimeters and change. The second generation of the Toyota Supra went on sale in the 1982 model year for North America, this being the first year of that car, and an L-Type, which traditionally came with an automatic transmission and would have weighed in at 2,932 pounds. Fairly stout and rigid chassis on this car too. You notice the frame rail pretty much ties almost into the rear right here, so make a great platform for putting a V8 in. Two-piece drive shaft with carrier bearing in the center. Have a single resonator on the mid-pipe to help eliminate rasp, with a single cat going into the OG period correct Greddy Truss long tube header and Y pipe that I sourced from Japan. And that blue header coating is part of the signature look of those trussed headers from back in the day. It's just what they were known for. Now, because this is an L-Type Supra, originally came with an I as in 4-speed automatic, which I swapped out for the P-Type model W58 5-speed manual. However, because I as in produced the W58 transmission for so many years, it was used in the Mark II, Mark III, and Mark IV Supras, I sourced one from a Mark III Supra with the steel center section, which is the strongest variant of the W58 transmission family. Up front, it uses an all-steel in construction, kind of McPherson strut style suspension, and it featured power steering, hydraulic type system. I complemented that with a set of KYB AGX coilover adjustable dampers, and of course matching front adjustable anti-sway bar. Measures in at, well, it's actually bigger than I thought, 27.5 millimeter in diameter. It's time for the braking test. No one behind me. Ready? Whoa, I forgot, it has no ABS. Look at that smoke. Pretty good though. Even without ABS, I could have let off a little bit, but that was kind of fun, inducing a little bit of a slide. Sometimes no ABS can be like an amusement park ride. If you've never experienced it, you should. That braking was just made possible thanks to a fairly healthy sized single piston floating front caliper with a 257 millimeter or 10.1 inch slotted front rotor, which I upgraded, as well as the stainless steel brake lines, which were upgraded as well. The wheels, they are a 15x7 with a positive 13 millimeter offset Hayashi Racing CR, which I imported from Japan for this car. It's just a period correct of the era style wheel that I felt went well with it. So they're wrapped in a set of 205/50 15-inch Falcon RT 660 tires. You'll notice that pairing equals no stretch on the tire. Nice meaty chunky sidewall. Out back you have another single piston floating caliper. Yes, this had 4-wheel disc brakes back in 1982. That was a big deal back then. And it has a slightly larger 264 millimeter or 10.4 inch slotted rotor, which was also upgraded along with the lines back here. And that is because the inner parking brake drum makes it a larger diameter. The wheel also larger at a 15 by 7.5 with a positive 6 millimeter offset, wrapped in a 225 45 15-inch Falcon RT 660 tire. Again, no stretch back here either, just meaty sidewall. OEM genuine Toyota splash guards. You notice the rear has the little Celica dragon embossed in it. Sadly, I could not find a used, good condition rear genuine driver's side splash guard for this. In the name of science, I am now going to give this thing the beans. First is a bolstering assessment. It's pretty good, but I also think the fabric is gripping me more than the bolsters are. They're black leather, super comfy and sofa-like, and aside from the bolsters on the driver's seat, this is all the original leather interior. I added these floor mats. They have the Supra logo on a little metal plaque as well as the tan border, which matches the tan stitching in the black leather seats. Well, they are not heated or ventilated. They are adjustable, as seats should be. They have bolstering adjustment. That's not bolstering, it tilts the butt cushion down. Wait, there is bolstering over here. There's a rod. As far as drive modes go, there's infinite. Whatever your mind can come up with, you can make it into a drive mode. This thing does have a lot of crazy technology for the time. The huge benefit of the L-type models is they came standard with this digital dash and the tachometer. Looks like that of a Honda S2000 from the 80s. And the P-type models had just a regular analog gauge cluster, although this might have been an option, I'm not sure. Yes, obviously I need to get gas, but speaking of gas, you have some knobs down here in the corner. It says fuel scale change in speed. If I press the fuel one, it changes it to fractions. And if I press the speed one, it changes my gauge cluster from miles per hour to kilometers per hour. The trip computer down here is basically a TI cucumber calculator on the side of the gauge cluster. So if I were to press the mile per gallon button, showing me I have 33 miles of fuel remaining, and then I reset it, but 0 miles per gallon. All right, let's see what this thing can do. Give it a little assistance and let it eat. Ready? Get it! Sounds so good. I love the sound of the 5M, especially with this exhaust. That's good. That's good. Chef kiss. Hood pop. Yeah, hood struts on a 1982. No excuses, new car manufacturers. Underneath the hood of the 1982 Toyota Celica Supra is the 5M GE, which is a iron block aluminum head dual overhead cam 12 valve 2.8 liter straight six that produced 145 horsepower at 5,200 RPM and 155 pound-feet of torque at 4,400 RPM. Everything engine related, aside from the Greddy Truss header and the Cusco front sway bar that I got from Japan, is original. And if you notice right now, the valve cover is black, and in some of these shots it's silver. That's because I replaced the valve cover gaskets and the rear camshaft gaskets and painted the valve covers because they're supposed to be black from the factory. I was really torn on what to do, pun intended, with the underhood insulation. It does have some tears in some places, but it's overall survived so well over the years that I just couldn't throw it away, and you can't replace this with an aftermarket one. Digging in a little bit deeper on this early variant of the 5M GE for the 1982 model year, this had an 83 by 88 millimeter bore and stroke with an 8.1:1 compression ratio. And it also incorporated a Bosch L-Jetronic fuel injection system, which was an early version of Bosch's fuel injection system, a vacuum advanced distributor, hydraulic lifters, and automatic valve lash adjusters. This is all kind of new technology for 1982. Electronic fuel injection, early form of it. A good part of the engine does sit in front of the strut tower, so it's a little nose heavy, which if you look in the center of them, you can see the dampening adjustment for the KYB AGX shocks. And because I didn't want to throw an aftermarket junk radiator on here, I took the original Toyota one out and had it re-cored and repainted, and now it's got a genuine Toyota radiator. One of my favorite features this car had is the underhood maintenance light, which you can actually undo it, and there's a big long cord so you can reach anywhere in the engine bay and see what you're doing when you're maintaining your vehicle. As far as the handling goes, the coilover suspension definitely made this handle a lot better. And the steering feedback is good. There's not a lot of slop to it, which you would expect in an older car. It's tight. I will say though, with this being so low to the ground, that over harsh, bad infrastructure, you feel every bit of it. And whoever wins this car, don't expect it to be a Cadillac. It's a lowered car. Get used to lowered car life. But on smooth asphalt or on a track, this car handles phenomenal, especially for its age. In the braking too, the braking test didn't really show the braking on this car, having the four-wheel disc brakes and the fact that the rear brakes are ventilated. The braking is great on this thing also, just no ABS. You need to know how to drive without ABS brakes. Although it is really fun just letting them lock up and go for a slide. It was really ahead of its time, especially considering how quick this is for its age. I mean, compared to modern vehicles, it's not fast, but for its time, this must have been a reasonably fast car. The manual transmission with the 4.3 final drive ratio really woke this thing up, and it's got good low and mid-range torque, and then just sounds like a symphony up high in the RPM. By far my favorite generation of Supra. Such an engaging, just experience. Raw, analog, just perfect. I know this is gonna be difficult to hear me, but I just want to experience what this is like with the window down. It sounds so good. Okay, I have never sat in the back seat, I don't think. How do I slide you? The back seat on a Mark II Supra is by far more usable than a Mark V Supra. The seat cushion's super comfy, the back cushion's comfy. My head barely grazes the ceiling, but the ceiling is padded leather. Nope, it's never been smoked in before. Unlike cheap cardboard and suede in a new one. This car is built better than a new Supra, arguably. That is like a high-end purse from JCPenney in 1982. One complaint though is I just noticed this now. All you have in the back seat is a lap belt. There are no shoulder belts back here, so don't crash. Out back you get a rear wiper, and the louvers actually lift up on their own in case you want to clean underneath there, and the wiper goes underneath them, which is super cool. Way more storage space than you have in the 5th generation Supra. I added this Cusco rear anti-sway bar that I got from Japan. There's these little carpeted side compartment areas that you can open up. This side has the jack, and then on this side you open this entire thing up and you have storage area. But what's super neat is down here, there's this little door that opens up, which turns into a funnel, and it reveals a cap for a plastic bladder for your rear washer fluid. In the funnel is so you don't spill any when you're servicing it. And we're switching to sunset. That's what you have to do. It's a car from the 80s. That's all the 80s were. It was just continuous sunrise and sunset. I would know, I was born in the 80s. Don't argue with me. If I had to pick this car apart and find faults with it, some stuff that I would have continued to work on with this thing is I would have done some upgrades to the engine, especially because this is an earlier 5M. I would have put some higher compression pistons in it, probably some upgraded cams, a little bit of head work, and some individual throttle bodies, which would just be orgasmic sounding on this car. Aside from that, I would definitely want to upgrade all the bushings and the suspension on this thing, the engine mounts and the transmission mount. Just, I feel those are kind of getting a little tired and dried out on this thing. They could use an upgrade. Just a couple little tweaks and more changes on this car, and it would be absolutely just astonishing. For this thing's age, there's tons of tech features in here, so it's totally a car you could live with every day. It also had automatic climate control, so you just set your temperature or whatever you want it to be, or for the air conditioning, you could just click it over to 1 notch, and the fan will automatically kick on as high as it needs to be to maintain that temperature. This also came standard with a Toyota graphic equalizer, and I didn't have the original head unit when I bought the car, so I put this Pioneer deck in here, which is super retro and digital looking, kind of fits of the era, and also it illuminates the exact same color as the digital dash, so it looks almost period correct. However, if you pop this right here, take the faceplate off, slide this guy out, fold it up, you can then put your smartphone in this little holder, and then you have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto through Bluetooth in the head unit, and then you can use your navigation or whatever apps you want, like a modern unit. As far as the sound system goes, there is a miniature little subwoofer underneath the glove box in the passenger footwell. Everything in here is soft to the touch and leather wrapped. Door cards, all soft to the touch, leather wrapped. Power windows and door locks. Power mirrors. Rip-it e-brake, of course, because 1982. In case you drop your keys inside the door here, there is a little plastic tray that opens up and you can retrieve them. The headliner is all tan leather wrapped with perforations. Inside the center armrest, there is another fun gem. This right here is a little work light that you can unsnap and move it around the cabin wherever you need a mobile flashlight. Or you can reach in and turn it on where it sits. It's kind of hard to see this on camera, but the front windshield actually has defrost lines built into it. There's also a little roushed pocket right here where you can store your vehicle's registration, as well as any little case for your head unit. And the tech that's in here is retro 80s digital, and it's just, it has so much character to it and makes it such an experience to drive the car, just coupled with the looks of the little back of the headlight lids that I have up right now, because you have to when you have pop-up headlights. Considering this thing's age, there's not a lot of rattles in here. The biggest rattles are coming from the louvers on the back window, which I couldn't get rid of those. They have to be on this car. It just fits the car. It fits the era of the car. As I'm recording this video, I have not chosen the winner for the giveaway of this car yet. So I will say this to whoever won this car, I really hope you appreciate it and take good care of this car like the original owner did. And I hope this car lives on for another 40 years. It is now time to give the Supra some scores. Starting with the bean score, the assessment of the feeling you get in your gut when you give it the beans. And this 82 Celica Supra is getting a rating of. Next is the cookie score, the assessment of value, and this car, as equipped at just over $14,000 in 1982 money, which is over $44,000 in today's money, gets a rating of. Next is the wrench score, the assessment of ease of maintenance, and this thing right here gets a rating of. Does not get any easier than that. This is one of the easiest cars I've ever worked on in my entire life. Love it. Next is the squid score, the assessment of handling, and this car as it sits now gets a rating of. I can't say what it would have gotten original before it was modified, but nowhere near as good. It's just simple fact of technology with tires. Lastly is the penguin score, the assessment on how much I personally like a vehicle, and Frog right here, that's what the original owner called it, is getting a rating of. I'm gonna miss this car so fucking much, it's not even funny. I'm really sad, like I tear up thinking about it that it's gonna be leaving. But that's the nature of a car giveaway. So anyway, I hope the new winner, when I pick it, hopefully in the next couple weeks, it takes a little while for this process, but hopefully the new owner appreciates this car as much as I did. And I'll see you guys soon with another video. Bye.